For some business news, the federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring a steady supply of refined petroleum products across the country. This assurance was contained in a statement issued by the Director of Information and Public Relations in the Federal Ministry of Finance, Mr. Mohammed Manga, in Abuja. The director disclosed, said the Steering Committee on Domestic Crude Oil and Refined Product Sales in local currency met on Sunday to review developments in the downstream oil sector. Chairman of the committee, Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, addressed concerns over the purported suspension of the Naira for crude arrangement by the Dangote refinery, noting that the matter had since been amicably resolved. He added that issues raised by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria regarding the refinery had also been addressed. The minister further reiterated government's commitment to energy security, consumer protection, and stability in the domestic petroleum products price market. Meanwhile, the Central Bank of Nigeria's decision to cut the monetary policy rate has continued to generate reactions, with financial experts commending the move as a step towards easing credit conditions and stimulating growth in the economy. At the just concluded meeting, the MPC reduced the benchmark interest rate by 50 basis points to 27%. An international business and project consultant, Mr. Emeka Okengu, says the rate cut sends a positive signal to the business and investors, and particularly small and medium enterprises, which have struggled in recent times under the weight of high borrowing costs.
Are we moving at the pace we should move? You know, if you just oppose that against our population growth, that maybe you begin to see some few red lines here and there. But what is important is that there's a steady move. You know, we are making some upward movement, and that's what this is all about. And again, with the CBN projection that this is going to be sustained for another maybe going forward, it's a very positive sign. And again, you can even begin to now see the impact of that on even the exchange rate. Okay, dollar is dipping. It's never dipped before the way it's dipping now. It's left the 1.5 mark. I think it's now, you know, oscillating under, you know, the 1.4 something. Yeah, and we have to just get it down to where maybe again under 1,000 naira. So this is all what it is, okay? Because development is all about your currency management is very central. You know, the power of your currency, the access of this currency to businesses. Because in your intro, I think part of what I thought I heard you say was that, you know, banks can now begin to lend and then lend well. That's all what can happen in the long run.
The Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprises urged the federal government to support Nigeria's recent economic rebound with structural reforms that can translate growth into jobs, food security, and poverty reduction. Chief Executive Officer of the CPPE, Dr. Muda Yusuf, said this in Lagos, and that the Nigeria's GDP performance showed that the economy was not only on a recovery path, but also gaining traction despite lingering structural and macroeconomic challenges. Nigeria's economy grew by 4.23% in the second quarter, up from 3.13% in Q1 and higher than 3.48% in Q2 of 2024. According to Mr. Yusuf, the recovery was driven by oil and gas sector, which expanded by 20.46% compared to 1.87% in Q1, reflecting policy reforms, governance changes at the NNPC, and favorable market conditions. He, however, cautioned that the sector contributed just 4.05% of GDP, stressing the need to accelerate growth in non-oil sector for inclusive development. Agriculture grew by 2.82%, up from 0.07% in Q1, while manufacturing slowed to 1.60%, constrained by high production costs, logistics challenges, and FX volatility. The Securities and Exchange Commission has warned Nigerians against the rising wave of artificial intelligence-driven scams. SEC, in a statement, said the Commission had adopted an advanced surveillance system to detect fraudulent activities in real time. The Commission said scammers were targeting unsuspecting investors with promises of guaranteed profit and fake celebrity endorsements, and said fraudsters were increasingly turning to fake videos and AI-generated content to lure victims. He said the manipulated videos featuring politicians, celebrities, and TV hosts were being shared through Facebook, advertisements, Instagram Reels, and Telegram groups. disclosing that such platforms were not registered or regulated by them. The Commission urged citizens to take precautions before investing, stressing that any scheme promising daily profits, zero risk, or celebrity-backed endorsement should be treated with suspicion. Well, let's take you outside our shores. Most share markets rose in Asia today, while the dollar eased as investors braced for a possible shutdown of the United States government, which would in turn delay publication of the September payrolls report and a raft of other key data. S&P 500 has gained 74% of the time in 4 quarters, gained 0.3%, while Nasdaq features firmed 0.4%, having eased modestly last week. The Eurostock 50 features added 0.4%, FTSE features and DAX features. Japan's Nikkei slipped 0.8%, but was still 5% for September so far. South Korean stocks bounced 1.5%, bringing their gains for the month to 7.8%. MSCI's broadest index of Asian Pacific shares outside of Japan firmed 0.4% to be up almost 4% for the month. Chinese blue chips added 0.7% ahead of a Golden Week holidays that begins on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Indonesian Coordinating Minister for Food Affairs, Zulkifli Hasan, says the government has begun cultivating around 481,000 acres of rice field in the Merauke district of Papua province, aiming to turn the region into a national food granary under a strategic project. The coordinating minister said the project located in Waman taps into about 1 million hectares of swamp land that can be converted into productive farmland and is expected not only to produce staple food commodities such as rice, but also to generate ethanol from sugarcane and cassava, as well as biodiesel blends from palm oil. He said the step will strengthen the food sovereignty agenda while supporting emission reduction targets and climate adaptation, and would serve as a pillar of Indonesian efforts to achieve food, energy, and water sufficiency.